So hey guys, it's me. I'm back. This is the project I've been working on for the past few months. It's been building a forward rendering engine. I suppose that's what you can call it. I don't know. I feel like whatever I say is going to sound cringe. Um, but I've been trying to get behind game engine work and computer graphics a little bit more. So I started this project. Um, what you can see currently in the scene, I'll give you a brief overview. You have a skybox, which I took off a high resolution skybox website. Um, you just put in some seeds and it gives you back a couple of images. So that's quite neat. I modeled the scene in Maya with the help of a buddy. Art is not my forte, but because I did keep such primitive shapes, I suppose, um, my anti-aliasing looks okay. I found that I'll go into anti-aliasing later. Currently, what you see right now is a scene, and the scene will my engine will load these models and from their OBJs. It will grab their vertex data, their normal data, blah blah blah. It'll grab their materials using the MTLs that I've set up, and then it'll just give me that data to itself. I'll then run all that through a shader. The shader will grab the text coordinates and color data of that specific fragment, and it will take lighting into consideration. I'm using a blink Fong approach right now. I am going to transition to a PVR, which is a physics-based rendering approach, but I'm just still wrapping my head around that. Like, I'm still new to this, and it'll probably take me a few days just to get my head around the theory to it first before I start implementing it properly. The lighting that I've got set up in the scene is a spotlight on my camera, which is why you see everything I look at is so bright. I got this point light over here, and I also have a directional light in the scene which has a bit of a grey tinge to it. It's not too bright, it's quite dull, it's quite actually almost unnoticeable, but it's there, which is probably why you can see like the bits in the corners so lit up so well. Past that, I then started working on post-processing. The whole concept of post-processing is to render out my scene once. That's the first pass. Then I'll even do a depth pass for culling actually. I had set up at one point. I had like back face culling, and I was testing out front face culling and stuff like that, which looked awful by the way, just to get that kind of stuff going. But I'll do a depth pass for culling, and then I'll draw the scene out, and I'll take a snapshot of that scene, and and then I'll save it to a frame buffer. Pardon me. And then I'll do a third pass with just frame buffer now, and I can start applying effects onto the image, because we're no longer trying to apply effects onto all these objects in 3D space. We'll be applying effects onto whatever I can see of those 3D objects. There are some memes started around in here I forgot to mention, but that's not for now anyway. I've put an inverted color system. That's one of the post-processing effects, and you'll find that just invert all the colors that are on the image. I've also got a HDR set up, so a high dynamic range, and the concept of high dynamic range is just spreading out the color palette. So all the colors essentially. The RBG A system works from 0 to 1, which is quite a primitive spectrum. So in order to create that real big versatile shots, there's some formulas and approaches that are implemented in order to spread out the color palette. I've also implemented color grading, and what color grading does here is it'll grab anything that's remarkably more green than not just I'll grab anything that's more green than the other components, and I'll add a red tinge to it. I've predefined set this up to just work with green currently, but obviously that can be tailored. I just haven't got a GUI currently in order to actually allow people to control changing that. I suppose my main aim of the game here is to get a nice looking implementation, and then probably never, I'll work on how people actually would interact with this thing, but that's probably never going to happen because I suppose I'm not aiming to create games on this, but if I get there, I get there. The last design, the last effect I've got going on that I want to display is obviously my dynamic shaders. So my shaders are time-based shaders kind of thing. Um, and what you'll find now is that the scene will start to darken and then brighten up, and you'll see that you'll see that the sorry, my apologies. You'll see that I'm just lurking between a basic color and a lit up color based on time now. So all the shaders are taking this universal time into account, but that's nothing too worth going into anyway. Yeah, so the next step would be going into PBR. Then I'd like to look at deferred shading, deferred rendering. Um, I mean, I don't have lots of lights in my scene, so it actually wouldn't really give me any optimization boosts really, but I think it'd be cool to have that kind of versatility. And then I'd like to look at deferred, deferred, deferred lighting, um, and that's like a deferred approach with a forward lighting pass, if I remember correctly. Um, anyway, thank you very much for taking the time to look at this stuff.